of the Scripps News Group.
Unrest in Minneapolis set to stretch into the weekend. I'm Katie Tubman. Coming up, what federal lawmakers said at a hearing in Minnesota today, plus what the Trump administration is saying about who it's targeting.
Newly released records give a new perspective on what happened to the woman who was shot to death in Minneapolis by an ICE officer. I'm Lori Jangliha. Ahead, a look at the 911 transcripts and some incident reports.
The Trump administration is setting aside $10 billion to improve rural health care. The president holding that roundtable on the topic. Our White House correspondent Haley Bull was in the room. She has more on what we learned. Welcome to Scripps News Weekend. I'm Del Walters in Washington. President Trump saying he plans to pardon the former governor of Puerto Rico, Wanda Vasquez. She pleaded guilty last August to a campaign finance violation. The case also involved a former FBI agent and a Venezuelan banker. Trump says Vasquez's investigation began days after she endorsed him in 2020. He called her case, quote, political prosecution. Striking New York City nurses say they have restarted contract talks with Mount Sinai hospitals. The union there meeting with New York Presbyterian officials Thursday night. They say little progress was made. The hospital says the union's staffing protocols are unreasonable. Negotiations have yet to resume at Montefiore, the third major hospital system affected. Roughly 15,000 nurses walking off the job Monday, biggest strike of its kind in decades. President Trump saying he may punish countries with tariffs if they don't support U.S. control of Greenland. Didn't provide any details, though. He has repeatedly said the United States needs Greenland for national security reasons. Before now, the president hasn't mentioned using those tariffs to force the issue. Greenland is a self-governing territory that is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. European leaders have joined Denmark in saying the U.S. can't control the world's largest island. Minneapolis is bracing for another weekend of unrest and demonstrations. It's now been 10 days since that ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good inside her SUV. Protesters have been clashing with federal officers each and every day since. Scripps News national correspondent Katie Tubman has been tracking this developing story. And Katie, today we watched that intense standoff between ICE protesters with the head of Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, front and center. Doesn't appear that the freezing temperatures are leading to cooler heads.
That's right, Del. In fact, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, along with the Minnesota National Guard, just held a briefing calling for public safety going into the weekend and what is expected to be an intense weekend full of demonstrations against ICE operations in the city and state. Now, tension in Minneapolis don't appear to be easing, of course, with even more protesters demonstrating against federal officers today. And those protests taking place while a group of federal lawmakers hosted a hearing in Minnesota on the agents being in the state, and they called for an end for their deployment.
Stay off federal property or you will be arrested.
Unrest in Minneapolis set to stretch into the weekend. Demonstrators protesting outside a federal building again on Friday after clashes intensified the night before. The Department of Homeland Security saying it arrested 12 anti-ICE protesters who it alleges were assaulting officers. Our cameras capturing one woman being detained Thursday night. On Friday, Democratic congressional lawmakers holding a hearing in Minnesota, bashing the Trump administration's deployment of federal immigration officers to the state and calling for them to leave.
The Trump administration is abusing its power of the federal government to deny people their civil rights and subjecting them to violence.
What we are witnessing right now is unprecedented.
What we're seeing on our streets is unnecessary abuses of force. This is an invasion for the sake of creating chaos by our own federal government.
Shame! Shame! But DHS is standing by its operation and highlighting some of the 2,500 undocumented migrants it says it's arrested in Minneapolis under the current operation.
Scores and scores of murders, child pedophiles, gang members, known as suspected terrorists. These are all the people that we've arrested in Minneapolis. And DHS has, and Secretary Noem, President Trump, have done a phenomenal job of trying to give people transparency on who we are arresting.
But now a majority of Americans say President Trump has gone too far in deporting migrants living in the U.S. illegally. However, nearly just as many say the president's actions have been about right or have not gone far enough. And Del, there's been more legal actions regarding ICE's presence in Minnesota. On Thursday, the American Civil Liberties Union filed a class action lawsuit against ICE on behalf of 3 plaintiffs who say they've been racially profiled recently in Minnesota. And we just got an update in the case from my colleague Jacob Gardensworth, and he told us that the judge has recused himself as of today, saying that the 2 lead attorneys on the case are his former clerks. Del?
You know, Katie, and also that other lawsuit filed against the Trump administration by the state of Minnesota and the 2 governors of the cities there, I mean, the mayors of the cities there. What is the status of that lawsuit?
That's right, Del. Minnesota and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul sued the administration to stop its ICE surge and having more agents deployed to the state. And a judge gave the DOJ until Monday to respond to the suit. So we'll expect to learn more about the status of the case going forward, or at least after the weekend. Del.
Scripps News national correspondent Katie Tubman for us live in New York. Katie, thank you very much. Meanwhile, the Scripps News investigative team obtaining new records from Minneapolis. They provide graphic new details on that ICE shooting that left that mother of 3 dead. Scripps News senior national investigative correspondent Lori Jane Gliha is live now, and she has more on what she found inside those documents.
Yeah, Del, we actually just received some extra information, some dash camera footage showing the aftermath of a previous incident involving the ICE agent who was accused of shooting Renee Good in Minneapolis last week. We're going to show you this video. It just came in within the last hour. This is from the aftermath of an incident in which a sex abuse suspect dragged this ICE officer with his vehicle after the agent broke the driver's side rear window of the vehicle to unlock the door while trying to apprehend him. Now, the suspect put the vehicle in drive and drove off, injuring the officer. You can see off to the side there, it looks like he's being tended to. The officer was injured. This all happened in June 2025. Now, fast forward to this week, and we are learning more about this other incident involving the agent and the woman who was killed when he pulled a gun and shot her. The city of Minneapolis released 911 transcripts, a report from the police department, and dispatch and incident reports from rescue crews who were called to that scene.
No!
New documents released by the city of Minneapolis reveal what emergency crews found when they arrived to the scene of a deadly shooting. A woman in a vehicle shot by an ICE officer. Records show the woman, Renee Good, was unresponsive with an inconsistent, thready pulse. First responders reported finding gunshot wounds to the patient's right chest, left forearm, and a possible gunshot wound on the left side of her head. Crews said they tried to save Good by using a tourniquet and chest compressions and requesting an ambulance. Medics eventually took her to the hospital but couldn't save her life. The city of Minneapolis also released transcripts of 911 calls, not the actual audio. They show a number of distraught witnesses calling in to report the shooting. One saying a bunch of ICE agents just shot a lady, point blank range in her car. They shot her because she wouldn't open her car door. There's video of it too. The person uses expletives to describe the situation. In another 911 report, a call taker tells the caller to catch their breath after they reported they witnessed the shooting. The person says ICE fired shots into her windshield, saying that officers made the caller step back from the scene. The person says they saw an ICE officer fire 2 shots and that the woman tried to drive away but crashed. And Del, there were several other calls included in this transcript, including one from someone who said they were calling after receiving information from a law enforcement post called Joint Operation Command Center. That caller reported what they described as agitators on the scene, and that person then told the dispatcher that, quote, our locals had fired shots. Again, as we've been reporting, the person who fired the shots that day was that ICE officer, Del.
So, Lori Jane, how did you get your hands on these records from the city of Minneapolis?
Yeah, just as we always do, when there's a major incident, we request public records, everything we can think of to try to understand more about what happened and get the information from the original source. So we submitted records requests for local 911, police, and fire records on the day of the incident last week, and they were just released to us yesterday, Del.
And now those documents, that video from June. Also, this dispute between state and federal officials about who is investigating, who is in charge. Do these new records shed any light on that?
There is some insight in these records. They indicate that Minneapolis police responded to the scene to help with crowd control and to establish a perimeter around the scene. One record indicated police had been in touch with, quote, ICE admin within an hour of the shooting, who said they were sending an evidence gathering team and would handle the OIS, which means, as we know, Del, officer-involved shooting.
Scripps News senior national investigative correspondent Laura Jane-Gliha. Laura Jane, as always, thanks for being with us. It's 15 degrees right now in Minneapolis, but the temps between ICE and protesters boiling over. Jenna Ray from our Scripps News group has more on a skirmish that broke out on the ground.
We're on the ground here in Minneapolis outside of the federal building where several dozens of protesters have been for the last few days. And it's a pattern that we keep seeing where federal agents dressed head to toe in riot gear continue to come out and clash with protesters. Some of these federal agents holding rubber bullet guns while others are holding cans of some sort of chemical irritant. Protesters have continued to line the sidewalk outside the federal building, and when they cross the street heading towards that building, it seems to trigger federal agents to come out. We heard agents asking protesters to get back onto the sidewalk and get out of the street. For protesters who have remained on the sidewalk, like Nicole Davis, she says these confrontations have been frustrating.
Coming from a military family, it's very angry because this is not what my family has risked their lives for.
Nicole says she's been out at the federal building for days, carrying around her grandfather's military flag.
My grandfather served as a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. He had dual citizenship. He came from an immigrant family, and he joined the Army.
For others like Robin,
I want to stand up for my neighbors.
She says she wants to see the temperature cool down altogether.
I've been seeing violence in our neighborhoods. I've seen it on video. I've seen it in person, and it's atrocious. So I'm here to speak up with the good folks of Minnesota to say that ICE needs to leave.
The Department of Homeland Security says they're continuing to arrest the, quote, worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens from Minnesota neighborhoods, including perpetrators of fraud, thieves, and drug traffickers. On Thursday, ICE's Operation Metro Surge included the arrest of at least 5 people DHS says are illegally in the United States and convicted of crimes like larceny, prostitution, and drug trafficking. At the federal building, we've seen several protesters taken into custody. We've reached out to DHS for more information on that and are waiting to hear back. In Minneapolis, I'm Jenna Ray for the Scripps News Group.
The shooting death of Renee Good in Minneapolis has led to calls for accountability in connection with the fatal shooting of Keith Porter Jr. in Los Angeles. Porter was a 43-year-old father of 2. He was shot and killed by an ICE officer on New Year's Eve outside his apartment complex. Homeland Security saying the off-duty ICE officer was forced to defend himself, but there's no footage of the shooting. Porter's family and local activists saying Porter didn't threaten anyone. He was just celebrating New Year's Eve.
There is a constant flow of news, especially out of Washington, D.C., but also across the country. Gun violence, weather events, that's something that I need to be ready for every single day. And some days I might cover 2 or 3 different stories because that's what the needs of the day are. So every day is different, but it's part of what keeps this job interesting. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News.
For live reports, breaking news, and headlines from across the country, stream Scripps News.
You got us banned from being room parents? I have never been more in love with you.
Who wants to go nuts for donuts?
Show him your folding trick.
I'm not in the mood for your sheet right now.
That's gotta hurt, huh? You keep me coming back for more.
You know the drill.
We are gonna be there when it pops.
Okay, get to it.
Those guys, they're the best.
We'll get this guy.
Together, like we always do. I think you'll be surprised what you're capable of. Connecting with focus. There we go.
This is gonna be fun. Then let's get it on.
Kind of forgot how crazy things can get here.
I love this team.
It's on ION, wherever you watch. Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brandon Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair. So he killed his wife and another man.
You say, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception. The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings on Court TV.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes!
Make a plan today.
Bounce XL has it all.
Show me something.
Well, did we think that we'd be in TV? Yes, we did. When we allow all of our voice to be heard, that's when we succeed the most.
America, desperate times call for desperate measures, and I'm desperate to get at least one of these kids out of my house.
Family sticks together no matter what.
Bridging the gap, celebrating culture, and giving you what you came for.
You ready for showtime?
Show me something.
You're watching Scripps News, part of the Scripps News Group.
More and more cases of measles being reported across the country. Health officials in South Carolina confirming 124 new measles cases this week. 434 there, most in Spartanburg County. There's also another outbreak along the Utah-Arizona border that continues to grow. 418 people have been infected there since August. Arizona adding 9 new cases on Tuesday. Utah adding 2. Experts in both of those states say the numbers could be low. They're worried the numbers might be higher. The CDC says seasonal flu activity remains elevated nationwide. They say the activity has either remained steady or decreased slightly, though, for 2 weeks in a row. In some cases, flu cases are so widespread, though, they're closing schools. But there's more to the story. Megan Mannering from our Scripps News Group in Lexington explains.
In Kentucky, flu cases peaked during Christmas week and have since gone down. But nationally, doctor visits for flu-like symptoms are at the highest levels seen in nearly 30 years. That's according to the CDC. The surge forcing entire school districts to temporarily close, giving custodians time to sanitize and families time to isolate.
This one's a superbug, and it spreads rapid.
In Robertson County and Middlesboro independent schools, administrators say closures were necessary. Middlesboro didn't have enough substitute teachers to cover classrooms. And in Robertson County, students were being sent home. The superintendent writing that the number of confirmed cases of flu and strep throat had reached a concerning level.
Everybody knows everybody. Not only do they go to school together, they hang out together, they play sports together, they cheer.
Public Health Director Victor McKay serves Robertson and Mason counties and helps schools decide when closures are needed. With new federal recommendations on vaccines, guidance can feel confusing, especially as groups like the American Academy of Pediatrics continue to recommend more vaccines for kids than the new federal guidelines. But McKay's advice remains the same.
They need to talk to their primary care physician if they haven't or if there's any hesitancy. But we, as here at the Public Health Department, we strongly encourage that they get their flu vaccine, and they're still available.
Megan Mannering, Scripps News Group.
The Department of Justice was supposed to release all documents related to the investigation into both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell nearly a month ago. And so far, they've only released about 1% of the documents they have, and that's according to the DOJ itself. That's causing more than frustration for Congressman Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, the authors of the bill that forced these documents to be released. And now they're asking the judge in Maxwell's case to appoint an official to oversee this release.
In a letter to the court, the congressman said, put simply, the DOJ cannot be trusted with making mandatory disclosures under the act, saying they believe criminal violations have taken place that they want addressed. The department responding Friday says compliance is a substantial undertaking and that they have 500 reviewers and now 80 additional attorneys working on redactions. All of this coming as a group of survivors sent this letter to the acting inspector general at the DOJ this week, criticizing the redactions in the documents we have seen, saying private, identifying information had been disclosed,
and explaining these failures have caused renewed harm to survivors and undermined trust in institutions institutions responsible for safeguarding sensitive information.
They also raised concerns about whether other redaction decisions were influenced by factors unrelated to survivor protection, and saying even the appearance that redactions were applied to protect certain individuals rather than survivors erodes public trust and reinforces longstanding concerns about unequal accountability in cases involving powerful actors. So far, no perpetrators have been named in the documents.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says her team has made substantial progress, but gave no deadline as to when Americans might see all of the documents. The congressmen have until Tuesday to respond. Alex Miller, Scripps News Group, New York.
The deadline to sign up for the ACA has come and gone. No fix from Capitol Hill to extend those expanded tax credits. If nothing changes, the KFF Foundation says 4.8 million Americans risk not having any health insurance. Many now looking for alternatives, others praying they just don't get sick this year. So what are lawmakers on Capitol Hill doing? Scripps News congressional correspondent Nathaniel Reed went to find out.
On Thursday, President Trump unveiled his great health care plan, which aims to lower the cost of health insurance for Americans on the Affordable Care Act. At the center of the president's plan, health savings accounts for Americans, so they can pay down the high cost of health care directly. But the president's proposal, separate from bipartisan negotiations on Capitol Hill. Critically, the president's plan doesn't include any extension of expanded Affordable Care Act subsidies, which expired at the end of last year. A White House official telling the Scripps News Group that the proposal, quote, does not specifically address those bipartisan congressional negotiations that are going on. Those talks led in part by freshman Republican Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio. Senator Moreno telling reporters Thursday ahead of a Senate recess that talks have hit a snag. Healthcare negotiations, are they stalled?
Enhanced period tax credits, here's where we're at. So we are in a little bit of a pothole. Democrats that we're talking to are absolutely there in good faith. They absolutely want to get a deal done. They are absolutely willing to do an extension of reforms. But what I've seen in my year here is that unless the Democrat leader wants a deal to happen, it just will not happen.
The senator placing the blame squarely on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who has advocated with his fellow congressional Democrats for a 3-year extension of credits. According to Senator Moreno, bipartisan negotiators have zeroed in on a 2-year plan, which would allow for an extension of those expanded expired tax credits, paired with a health savings account option to put money directly in Americans' pockets in year 2. Since open enrollment ended for 2026 on January 15th, the senator says an agreement would reopen open enrollment for Americans who get their coverage through the Affordable Care Act. Healthcare is expected to be a major issue in this year's midterm elections. With negotiations stalled and campaigns ramping up, it's not clear if a bipartisan group of lawmakers will be able to deliver on a plan. Caught in the middle, the millions of Americans who are projected to lose their health insurance over the expired tax credits, and those who have renewed their plans but are now paying significantly more for the same plans. Nathaniel Reed, Scripps News Group, Washington.
You got us banned from being room parents? I have never been more in love with you.
Who wants to go nuts for donuts?
Show him your folding trick.
I'm not in the mood for your sheet right now.
That's gotta hurt, huh? You keep me coming back for more.
Scripps News is streaming for free on all your favorite streaming services. Once you get the app, get free access to breaking news, live events, and the award-winning journalism you expect from Scripps News. Start streaming Scripps News today.
Bounce XL has it all.
Show me something.
Well, did we think that we'd be on TV? Yes, we did. When we allow all of our voice to be heard, that's when we succeed the most.
America, desperate times call for desperate measures, and I'm desperate to get at least one of these kids out of my house.
Family sticks together no matter what.
Bridging the gap, celebrating culture, and giving you what you came for.
Oh,
You ready for showtime?
show me something.
Jesse Palmer.
Emmett Smith?
Both of us together?
This must be some kind of TV fantasy. Nope, it's reality. Tableau reality. Tableau lets you watch, pause, and record live TV subscription free.
Pause you, Jesse. I'm here for 100+ channels. News, reality, movies, free live sports. Plus, it's game time.
Tableau. It's not fantasy, it's reality.
And a smart play.
Learn more at TableauTV.com.
The MVP of TV.
Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brandon Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair. So he killed his wife and another man.
You say, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception.
The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage continues Tuesday morning on Court TV.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, legendary trials.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
A Southern California city wants to become one of the healthiest cities in the world by earning a Blue Zone designation. Jane Kim from our Scripps News Group went there to find out how leaders plan to make that happen.
San Marcos wants people here to live a long time. They want to become known as a blue zone, which is basically one of the healthiest cities around. It's a quiet afternoon on North City Drive in San Marcos. Construction is being worked on in new developments, while the area showcases different businesses and the growing population in San Marcos. Right now, the city wants to build on what it's already doing well and take things to the next level.
Blue Zones just steps up everything that we've already been doing, and that is health, wellness, longevity, quality of life, and then making sure that you've got those rich social interactions that are good for all of us, for the mental well-being of us.
San Marcos Mayor Rebecca Jones wants the city to become what's known as a blue zone. It's a region where people live very long, healthy lives. Right now, there are 5 major blue zones: Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, and Loma Linda, right here in California. San Marcos is hoping to take principles from those cities and incorporate them into their daily DNA. Things like a sense of purpose, daily movement, and stress relief. In the next 6 months, San Marcos will go through an assessment to see whether they can become a blue zone city in the U.S. Author Dan Buettner helped put blue zones in the public eye.
They're widely accepted as best practice from our species on how to set up environments, rituals, cultures, social networks for optimal lifestyles, aka optimal lives.
The mayor believes it's important to look at everything San Marcos provides. She believes there's a likelihood San Marcos can get that designation.
This is something that everyone believes in so much that they're willing to invest in San Marcos because they know that we can get this across the finish line.
The assessment to determine San Marcos' blue zone eligibility will cost about $150,000. It'll be paid by private donors. Jane Kim, Scripps News Group.
If you think you can report on American politics by just staying in Washington, D.C., you're doing it wrong. Do you hope his visit to the picket line changes some policies? I make it a priority to go to places that aren't spoken about on national news and bring their perspective to my reporting. Are you going to vote? This country is so diverse. And if you thought the news cycle was busy lately, well, buckle up. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
For live reports, breaking news, and headlines from across the country, stream Scripps News.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, legendary trials.
Jesse Palmer.
Emmett Smith?
Both of us together? This must be some kind of TV fantasy.
Nope, it's reality. Tableau reality. Tableau lets you watch, pause, and record live TV subscription free.
Pause you, Jesse. I'm here for 100+ channels. News, reality, movies, free live sports. Plus, it's game time.
Tableau. It's not fantasy, it's reality.
And a smart play.
Learn more at TableauTV.com.
The MVP of TV.
Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brandon Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair. So he killed his wife and another man.
He was saying, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception.
The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings on Court TV.
You know the drill.
We are gonna be there when it pops.
Okay, get to it.
Those guys, they're the best.
We'll get this guy.
Together, like we always do.
I think you'll be surprised what you're capable of.
Connecting focus.
Here we go.
This is gonna be fun.
Then let's get it on.
Kind of forgot how crazy things can get here.
I love this team.
It's on ION, wherever you watch.
States needs. Before now, the president has not mentioned using tariffs to force the issue. Greenland is a self-governing territory that is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. European leaders have joined Denmark in saying the U.S. can't control the world's largest island. A new CNN poll finding Americans aren't too happy about just about strategy to improve rural.
Today, he thinks they can make health care a Republican issue. Big picture, it comes as we have seen the White House more and more focus on the issue of affordability, as polling at the same time has shown a number of Americans remain concerned over pricing. Now, specifically, what the White House says this plan does is aims to send money directly to people to buy health insurance, circumventing insurance companies. This is an idea the president has touted throughout this conversation on health care. It also aims to fund a cost-sharing reduction program, increase price transparency, and codify most favored nation pricing. That is part of those deals that the White House struck with a number of pharmaceutical companies, efforting to ensure the same pricing in the United States as what is offered abroad in foreign nations for some specific medications. CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz describing this plan as a framework and calling on Congress to help craft it. The White House is pushing for Congress to move forward to act on this. The president saying this about his plan today.
It's going to be a tremendous, it is a tremendous plan. It's called the Great Healthcare Plan. And we're going to get tremendous reductions, as you know, through, if you look at medicines and prescription drugs, they're going to come down by numbers that have never been seen before. And we're doing that by most favored.
And of course, Dell Healthcare has been a major issue between here at the White House and over on Capitol Hill after lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies before they expired at the end of last year. We had pressed President Trump last weekend on whether he would move forward or support an extension when that was being considered over on the Hill, and he had indicated an openness to vetoing that as well. But at the same time, Del, big picture, we are expecting the administration to focus on affordability, with officials and the president expected to share their message more on what they view as a success and their accomplishments in working to cut prices on the road, as again, polling has shown Americans remain concerned over the economy.
Very concerned indeed. Scripps News White House correspondent Haley Bull. Haley, thank you very much. Time for a check on the news making headlines across America. We begin in Florida. The state is rewarding local law enforcement for helping to crack down on illegal immigration.
I'm Rebecca Petite in Polk County. Sheriffs from across the state of Florida received reimbursement awards from the CFO for their participation in ICE's 287G program, with the Polk County Sheriff's Office receiving the largest amount of more than $1 million. The 287G program allows local law enforcement to work directly with federal immigration officials to identify undocumented immigrants who are accused of or have been convicted of crimes.
Florida is leading this nation with arrests and deportations, almost 20,000 so far since we started this.
A total of $1.7 million in federal funding was given to law enforcement agencies in Polk, Hernando, Hardee, Pasco, and Sarasota counties to ensure that they have the resources to continue to work with ICE to enforce federal immigration laws. The Polk County Sheriff's Office receiving the bulk of that money. Sheriff Grady Judd tells me 557 undocumented immigrants were arrested in Polk County in 2025.
We're reimbursed for our resources, whether it be our book-in cost, our initial housing cost, whether it's transportation, fuel, gas, equipment, law enforcement officers' cost.
The CFO also outlined proposed immigration reform legislation. They include requiring all state commercial driver's license instruction and testing to be conducted only in English. It would also prohibit undocumented immigrants from obtaining workers' compensation coverage. The proposed legislation also blocks undocumented immigrants from participating in down payment assistance programs.
And we want to require car insurance companies that insure illegal aliens using outlawed driver's licenses to fully accept the financial burden of a car accident involving an illegal alien.
The CFO tells me the proposed immigration reform legislation will next move through the House and the Senate. Rebecca Petite, Scripps News Group.
I'm Jeff Morgan in Annapolis. A senator from Anne Arundel County is introducing a bill to make it easier for veterans and active duty military to move to our state. It's a lengthy bill, 118 pages. Senator Brian Simonaire calls it transformative.
Main component of this is to modernize our licensing process, occupational licensing specifically.
Doesn't seem like a big deal, but how long it takes to transfer your license from another state to Maryland is how long you're out of work.
If an active service member comes from California, they come into our state, they have to go through this long process of getting a license, the paperwork, the money, and a lot of military depend on two incomes, and so they don't have time to wait for 3 or 4 months to get the other spouse working.
If the senator's bill passes, it speeds up that process.
So what this does is it says if you work in California or any other state and you're in good standing with your license, you can come to Maryland and you can practice immediately. All you have to do is provide an application showing that you're in good standing and you'll abide by our laws and its similar scope.
The bill has bipartisan support. It also needs to happen, according to the senator, to bring Maryland into compliance with federal law.
Other states have been sued. Texas was the first one, and they lost, saying that you have to do this.
The bill will impact active duty service members and their spouses. Now the House and Senate get their hands on it to make any necessary tweaks. Jeff Morgan, Scripps News.
Idaho's rural hospitals are waiting to see how much they'll get from a $50 billion federal grant. I'm your Emmett neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, talking with Valor Health about their proposal and hearing from the Idaho Hospital Association about why these funds mark the beginning to a long road of recovery.
50% of our hospitals are operating with a less than 1% margin. It's just they're hanging on by a thread.
The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, passed by Congress last summer, cut $150 billion from Medicare and Medicaid nationwide over 10 years. Now it's creating the Rural Health Transformation Program, sending $50 billion back over 5 years to help states improve rural health care access, quality, and outcomes. That money would help hospitals like Valor Health here in Emmett.
Margins are really tight. We've had negative income the last 2 months as an example. So it's razor thin.
Right now, they're in boats with a lot of holes, and it doesn't help them to give them a new shiny paddle.
Idaho's share could reach nearly $200 million, half guaranteed and the other half awarded based on need. All 27 rural hospitals in the state can submit funding proposals for projects they need most.
If the money came to us, here's how we would use it. Workforce investment. We have an aging facility. We have equipment that needs to be replaced.
Valor Health's list includes upgrading infrastructure, adding modern equipment, and building services designed to keep patients in Emmett for care.
So we're trying to be thinking, 5-10 years down the road, what's the population going to look like?
Healthcare is an important part of the infrastructure, and we need to keep up with growth. We need to make sure there's access to healthcare in as many communities as possible.
The state will review rural hospitals' proposals this spring, with final funding amounts expected later this year.
Covering the White House, you are in the center of where everything is happening in our government. There are really important issues happening in our country right now. People have questions about where the economy is headed, immigration policies, how the U.S. is handling global conflicts. My job is to bring meaningful answers and ask critical questions that impact everyday lives for our viewers. Haley Bull, Scripps News.
For live reports, breaking news, and headlines from across the country, stream Scripps News.
Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brandon Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair. So he killed his wife and another man.
He was saying, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception.
The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage continues Tuesday morning on Court TV.
Jesse Palmer. Emmett Smith? Both of us together? This must be some kind of TV fantasy.
Nope, it's reality. Tableau reality. Tableau lets you watch, pause, and record live TV subscription-free.
Pause you, Jesse. I'm here for 100+ channels. News, reality, movies, free live sports. Plus, it's game time.
Tableau. It's not fantasy, it's reality.
And a smart play.
Learn more at tableautv.com.
The MVP of TV.
You got us banned from being room parents? I have never been more in love with you.
Who wants to go nuts for donuts?
Show him your folding trick. I'm not in the mood for your sheet right now.
That's gotta hurt, huh?
You keep me coming back for more.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, Legendary Trials.
Another offshore wind project on the East Coast will continue, at least for now. A federal judge blocking the Trump administration from pausing that project while the legal battle plays out. Romello Stiles from our Scripps News Group in Norfolk explains how we got here and what's next.
A citizen perspective, it's pretty disappointing.
The Virginia offshore wind project sits about 26 miles off the Virginia Beach coast. The multi-billion-dollar project was months from completion when the Interior Department ordered a 90-day suspension of work. The pause affects large-scale offshore wind projects nationwide and follows concerns raised by the Department of Defense, including potential radar interference caused by rotating turbine blades. Dominion Energy has argued that the project is essential to meeting Virginia's growing energy demand and supporting critical military and civilian infrastructure, warning that stopping work threatens grid reliability, raises energy costs, and puts thousands of jobs at risk. Earlier in the week, a federal judge ruled in favor of the Danish energy company Ørsted, allowing construction to continue on its Revolution wind project, defying the government failed to justify holding a nearly completed wind farm.
Mark Wolf joins us now. He's an energy economist and executive director of the National Energy Assistance Directors Association. Mr. Wolf, when people talk about affordability, you hear so many people talk about grocery prices. But the people who I talk to say the sticker shock begins with their utility bills. How bad is bad?
Really, an appropriate question, because in fact, people might feel like their energy bills are going up, and they are going up. So compared to last winter, it'll cost about another $100 to heat your home. And the average number now is approaching $1,000 for home heating during the winter. So there's a lot to be worried about that. And the other thing is that this is being driven by rising electric prices and natural gas prices. And the combined effect is putting a lot of pressure on family budgets.
Mark, are those massive server farms to blame? They seem to be cropping up everywhere, and articles say they suck up the power.
Oh, that's one of like 4 factors. If it was just the server farms. So natural gas is up by 50% from last year. The cost of electricity is up by 13%. And there are other factors driving these prices than just server farms. For example, the raw fuel that helps to generate electricity. Natural gas comprises 40% of that. That's up 50% from last year. And then utilities are rebuilding the grid. Those are the wires, the generation that brings electricity to your home. Those costs are very expensive. And then the last thing, of course, is data centers. There's a lot of evidence that data centers are not bearing their fair share of the costs. And some of the costs of data centers is going to families, and that's driving up their bills. So the combination of effect is resulting in a higher bill this winter. And lastly, it's not just the price of electricity, natural gas, it's colder. So you're using more of an expensive product.
So Mark, that being said, I want to circle back to the data centers. We read about the tech billionaires and their luxury yachts, how much money they're making, richest people in the world. Why aren't they the ones paying these bills?
Well, it's happened quickly. So Del, utilities are not aggressive organizations. They've been here like over 100 years. They're very conservative. The public service commissions that regulate those utilities are also very conservative. And the demands from the data centers have happened very quickly.
Those amazing things will solve problems here on Earth.
Yeah, I think you're getting a little bleed through audio, so keep going.
Okay. Okay, so the thing is this, data centers are important. We all use data. We all use the internet. It's important. But the thing is that it's also important that they bear their share of the cost. So they come in, they need a lot of electricity round the clock and very reliable. So utilities need to upgrade their systems to meet that need. They also need to provide the electricity that those data centers need. And there's not a lot of excess capacity in the country for producing electricity right now. So when they've come in, they've used up the excess capacity and more, and that's pushed up prices. And so I think that it's not the data centers themselves, it's how do we pay for the data centers and in what share of the cost do they bear? The argument is that too much of the pressure they're putting on the electric system is being borne by regular families.
So, Mark, final question before I let you go. What can consumers do? Because on one hand, they're fighting Washington, which the president says affordability is a Democratic hoax. On the other hand, you're talking about the power companies, and yes, you know, the consumer regulatory boards, but as you know, that's like pulling teeth.
Well, I think that this is one way to think about it. You know, when the president was during the campaign, he said he would reduce electric prices by 50%. And that was important because electric prices last year were rising faster than inflation as well. But since he's come into office, electric prices have gone the other direction. They've gone up 13%. And I think what you're really asking is two things. One, what can the federal government do to help get these prices down? And the meeting of the White House today that's talking about data centers and what their share of the electric bill should be covered by the data centers is a good start. But there's also the second part is that under the big, beautiful bill that passed, that enormous bill in the Congress, they eliminated a lot of the tax credits available for families to make their homes more energy efficient. They eliminated the credits for solar. The president's also been cutting back on renewable energy. And the thing about renewable energy that's really important, you know, clean energy, is that it provides price stability. The sun is free. The wind is free. There's no charge for it. So by scaling back on those kinds of products, puts more pressure on the grid when prices increase. But what can families do in a very practical way this winter? Because we're already, I think, in the middle of it. There are a couple of things that I would do if you asked me what could I do? What can a family do? Well, the first thing to do is call in your furnace company, get your furnace tuned up, ask them to make it as efficient as possible. The second thing is to go around the house and look for leaks. If you leave the furnace flue open at night, it's like leaving a window open. It's pulling heat out of the house. So think about practical things you can do to make your home more energy efficient. And I think that's a good start. The other thing that I think is important is, even though some of the tax credits to make your home more energy efficient have gone away, think a lot about, do you have an old furnace? Do you have leaky windows? This is the time to look at replacing them. And many states are offering discount programs and subsidies to help make those investments more attractive. So the last thing is check with your local state energy office. Just go online, Google it. Go to your local utility. Many offer discounts. They also offer free audits, the kinds of things that can give you information to make your home more energy efficient. And last thing, if you don't think you can pay your bill, and there are many people that can't, the federal low-income home energy assistance program is still running. We recently received about $3.7 billion for this winter. So call your local community action agency, call your local utility again, and ask if you can sign up. It's really important. The funds are available.
Mark, I'm glad we had you on. A lot of people have been calling me complaining about this issue. Mark Wolf is the Executive Director of the National Energy Assistance Directors Association. Mark, so many thanks. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Jesse Palmer.
Emmett Smith?
Both of us together? This must be some kind of TV fantasy.
Nope, it's reality. Tableau reality. Tableau lets you watch, pause, and record live TV subscription-free.
Pause you, Jesse. I'm here for 100+ channels. News, reality, movies, free live sports. Plus, it's game time.
Tableau. It's not fantasy, it's reality.
And a smart play.
Learn more at TableauTV.com.
The MVP of TV.
The most infamous criminals.
We're dealing with an individual who is a loner.
He was a significant danger.
10 cases.
There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety.
The trash can exploded in front of my eyes.
I was in shock.
Whoever committed the acts might kill again.
We will find you. You will face justice.
John Lieberman hosts.
We take you inside the hunt for the wanted.
Captured. The Hunt for the Wanted. Monday starting at 5 on Scripps News.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes!
Make a plan today.
You know the drill.
We are gonna be there when it pops.
Okay, get to it.
Those guys, they're the best.
We'll get this guy.
Together, like we always do. I think you'll be surprised what you're capable of. I can focus. There we go.
This is gonna be fun.
Then let's get it on.
Kind of forgot how crazy things can get here.
I love this team.
It's on ION, wherever you watch. These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, legendary trials.
Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brandon Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair. So he killed his wife and another man.
He was saying, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception.
The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage continues Tuesday morning on Court TV.
NFL playoff football this weekend. Today, the Buffalo Bills heading to Denver to take on the Broncos. Won't be any shortage of Bronco fans, but there's a reason that Bills fans are heading into enemy territory. Toby Keith from Scripps News Group has the story from Colorado Springs.
Come on over and get the best Philly in town.
Michael Davis has owned and operated Back East Bar and Grill in Colorado Springs for about 20 years.
Burgers working.
It's no secret. As you walk up to their front door, Davis is a big Bills fan.
My Jim Kelly autographed jersey there.
But business, it's all about location, location, location.
You guys are in Broncos country. Yeah. So in the heart of Broncos country.
But that doesn't seem to hurt business.
But it's been fun. We get Broncos fans in here, of course, but we have a lot of people who have become good friends.
Looking around the restaurant, there is some love for the Broncos, and don't worry, when the Bills aren't playing the Broncos, Davis is rooting for Denver.
And for the Broncos fans watching, I got to say, you don't just have a Bills bar, you got a Broncos bar too, right?
So it's called Red Sunset Grill. It's out by the Ford Amphitheater. We're growing it into the new Broncos bar of the north side.
Every customer I talked to with 2 legs or even 4 only had good things to say.
I mean, there's not a better place in Colorado Springs to come to than this place right here.
But Davis's passion for a team, it's another reason why football is more than just a game.
Sports brings people together, you know, and you can just have fun with each other.
So, the big question,
what score prediction do you have for this Saturday?
Bills 30, Broncos 27.
As a journalist, I'm not supposed to be biased when it comes to sports. I'm always biased. I'm going to reverse it. Broncos. It's going to be Broncos are down fourth quarter by 2 touchdowns, typical fashion.
Tony Keith, Scripps News Group.
You're watching Scripps News.